Look, let's be honest. The line between human and machine is getting blurrier than a politician's answer about campaign finance. For decades, the idea of being a cyborg was pure science fiction, something you'd see in a movie where a robot with a bad Austrian accent travels back in time. But right now, today on July 30th, 2025, we are actively and sometimes unknowingly merging our fragile, fleshy bodies with cold, hard metal and sophisticated electronics. It's happening. And it's not just about getting a cool robot arm. This is a quiet revolution taking place under our skin, from life-saving medical devices that keep hearts beating to tiny digital chips that can open doors or pay for a coffee. Right, let's get specific. When we say putting metal in people, what are we actually talking about? It's a whole spectrum, really, ranging from the completely mundane to the deeply futuristic. On one end, you have the classic medical implants. Think pacemakers, which are basically little electronic guardians for your heart, sending out timed electrical pulses to keep it beating correctly. Or consider cochlear implants, which are incredible devices that bypass damaged parts of the inner ear and directly stimulate the auditory nerve, allowing people who are deaf to hear. Here's where the water gets murky. For years, the deal was simple. A doctor puts a piece of metal in you to save your life or improve its quality. The purpose was medical, the context was clinical, and the trust was placed in the medical establishment. But now the tech industry has crashed the party, and they've brought a whole new set of rules. Or more accurately, a Silicon Valley-style lack of rules. The new generation of implants isn't always about fixing a medical problem. It's about convenience, enhancement, and data. Alright, let's talk about the big shadowy elephant in the room: global control. Because as soon as you start talking about putting trackable, data-transmitting devices inside people, the conversation inevitably turns to some pretty dark places. Think about it. We are already living in an age of unprecedented surveillance where our phones, our smart speakers, and our online activities are constantly being monitored. The most common fear centers around the idea of a mandatory digital ID. Now, what if that digital ID wasn't a card or a phone app, but a mandatory implant? A chip that serves as your passport, your driver's license, your voting registration, and your access point to all government services. In this scenario, your very ability to participate in society could be tied to a piece of hardware in your body. Hardware that could be tracked, monitored, or in a worst-case scenario, deactivated. So, given that we are strapping ourselves into this technological rocket ship without checking the fuel gauge, it's probably a good time to ask some fundamental questions. These aren't nitpicky details. These are the big foundational pillars of ethics, freedom, and human dignity that we need to sort out before it's too late. First and foremost, the question of consent. Who gets to decide if you get an implant? Right now, it's mostly enthusiasts and medical patients making a choice. But what happens when an employer strongly encourages a chip for workplace access? What about an insurance company that offers you a massive discount, but only if you get a biosensor that tracks your lifestyle? Next up, the data question. Oh God, the data. Who owns the biological data generated by an implant inside your body? Is it you? Is it the company that made the device? Navigating this issue is like trying to perform brain surgery on a roller coaster. It requires incredible precision and, honestly, a very steady hand, all while everything is shaking uncontrollably. On one hand, you have the undeniable pull of innovation. The potential benefits of bio-integrated technology are immense. We could eradicate certain diseases, restore lost senses, and provide a level of medical monitoring that could save millions of lives. However, on the other hand, the risks of unchecked power are equally massive. When you give corporations and governments access to the internal workings of the human body, you are handing them a level of control that was previously unimaginable. Imagine a future where your loan application is denied because your implanted biosensor detected a slightly elevated heart rate, flagging you as a risk. Or where your political opinions inferred from biometric responses could affect your ability to travel. Alright, a brief message for any world leaders, government officials, or aspiring Bond villains who might be watching. Hello, pay attention, this is important. Your primary responsibility is to protect your citizens. And that doesn't just mean protecting them from foreign armies or economic collapse. It means protecting them from the potential tyranny of technology. First, you must take a hard, unequivocal stance against any form of forced or covert technological implantation. This should be a red line that is never ever crossed. The principle of bodily autonomy is sacred. Second, protect your nation's sovereignty, and that includes the sovereignty of your citizens' biological data. Do not allow foreign corporations or governments to have unfettered access to the most intimate data of your people. So here we are, at the heart of the matter. This entire debate boils down to one fundamental conflict: the battle for control over the human body. For all of human history, our bodies have been our own private sanctuary. They were ours to command, to care for, and to understand. But we are now entering an era where our bodies are at risk of becoming another platform, another piece of real estate for technology companies and governments to colonize. They see our skin as the next frontier for user interfaces, our nervous systems as the next network, and our biological data as the next gold rush. So what do? It's easy to feel powerless when faced with the combined force of technological inevitability and corporate billions. But we are not powerless. The future is not yet written, and we have a collective responsibility to shape it. This requires a multi-front defense of our rights and our dignity. First, we need immediate and robust legislation. We need laws that explicitly protect bodily autonomy. Second, we need education and public debate. This conversation cannot be confined to tech conferences and ethics panels. It needs to happen at dinner tables, in schools, and in town halls. As we stand on the precipice of this new age, we have a choice. We can sleepwalk into a future where our bodies are just another node in a network, or we can wake up, take control, and insist that our humanity is not for sale, not for upgrade, and not for negotiation. The choice is ours. Let's not mess this up.